Ehang stock analysis. Okay guys, so in this video, I'm going to take a bit of a different spin on the whole electric renewable energy kind of vehicle market. And I'm going to mention kind of an industry that is going to grow absolutely rapidly, but I don't really hear anyone talking about it. And that is basically autonomous flying vehicles and drones, guys. So what is Ehang? Well, Ehang is a company that actually produces drones and is actually working right now on producing a vehicle called an air taxi. So this is a really exciting type of concept, so be sure to turn into this video, because if you're not familiar with how fast the drone industry is growing and things like that, I'm going to basically clue you guys in and bring you up to speed. So first of all, why are flying cars and flying vehicles so important? So first of all, let's take a look here at a report by Morgan Stanley that says, are flying cars preparing to take off? So in a blue paper, Morgan Stanley research says autonomous urban aircraft may no longer be stuff of comic books. Accelerating tech advances, investment could create a $1.5 trillion market by 2040. And Henry Ford himself said, mark my words, a combination of airplane and motor car is coming. So why is this happening? Well, basically, you know, a lot of people are dealing with traffic jams and just congested cities and things like that. And with more and more people living in bigger cities, it just seems like the need for urban air mobility is a big benefit and a huge time saver. So as you can see here, I want to show you guys a very important chart that it says it's in its early days for urban air mobility, but Morgan Stanley research believes it's still early days for urban air mobility, but Morgan Stanley research believes that autonomous aircraft could be common by 2040. So let me show you guys this really interesting chart that I saw and it's just unbelievable. So as you can see here, according to Morgan Stanley, the market is going to absolutely explode. So here we are in 2020. You know, barely anybody is familiar with air mobility, but apparently in the next 20 years, it's going to be pretty mainstream. So how does this work? Well, I'm going to show you guys this amazing company. It's called Ehang. So Ehang is a Chinese company, and they sell this contraption here, which is apparently the future of air mobility. So at first I took a look at this thing and I was like, wow, really, people will be riding in air taxis? And then I thought about it, and it turns out that Uber already has an air taxi from JFK Airport into downtown Manhattan. It's cost something like $200 to $400. So, you know, basically right now, this technology is reserved for kind of I would say the rich elite, people that are, you know, have a lot of disposable income, earn a lot of money, and they're using air travel. So we all know about, you know, people like Grant Cardone bragging about owning, if you guys are familiar with Grant Cardone, the real estate guy on YouTube, he's always bragging about owning his own private planes. And then we also know a lot of rich and wealthy people use helicopters and their own private jets to get around. But apparently, according to Morgan Stanley, this is going to become mainstream transportation for, you know, the average Joe in the next 20 years. So this company, basically, they're producing this vehicle, and it's basically set up to just basically transport people around. So as you can see here, we have the Ehang 216, and it's basically, you know, it's basically an aircraft that can just basically carry a few passengers. And also they also have a real-time autonomous kind of flight network connection, so it's all basically done through the app, and they're able to actually control a lot of these drone aircrafts using technology from kind of like their network center. So right now the technology is still new and they're still producing these things, but they do have a lot of interest, not just with commercial use, but also governments as well are very interested. And the best thing about this is that it's a completely 100% electric aircraft. It just runs basically, doesn't use fossil fuels at all, so it's 100% green. And this was just a really interesting company. So you can actually check out this aircraft. If you take a look on YouTube and Google something like Ehang 216, you'll see a lot of videos showing how useful this thing is. And this thing not only just has like amazing features where it can transport people, but it also has some really excellent features like it can actually put out fires. So it can actually, you know, scale to the top of buildings and shoot out, water and things like that. So there's other uses for firefighters and kind of other safety uses as well. So now I want to talk a little bit more. Now that I talked about basically the aircraft they're producing, let's look at their latest quarterly report, because they are reporting earnings on December 3rd. And I wanted to kind of get this video out before earnings because I believe that they're going to have a pretty good earnings report. So let's check out their latest one. So as you can see here, I'm checking out their latest earnings report for Q2 2020. The company generated around $5.1 million with revenue up over 62%. And like I said, the company now is generating some losses, but this is all a new technology, and they hit a couple of milestones. So they're the first commercial pilot program approved by passenger-grade autonomous vehicles for air logistics. So they got approved to carry out the first company in the world to carry out commercial pilot operation in a category of 150 kilos. That's just over like about 300 pounds or so. So they were approved for that. And then they also reached an agreement with LN Holdings to announce the world's first a themed hotel in China. So now they're thinking of using these aircrafts for tourism. So of course, commercial use, that's kind of air taxis and things like that. And then they can use this for governments, and they can also use this for kind of fire rescue and things like that. And now they're trying to use this vehicle for tourism. So as you can see, I said during second quarter of 2020, significantly grew revenues and strengthened our core business of air mobility solutions. Okay, so in the future outlook for the rest of the year, the company expects to reach 200% revenue growth, as they see that there's a lot of practical uses for their vehicles throughout China. Okay guys, so now here we are back to Ehang's website. As you can see, I just think it's really important to just visualize the type of aircraft this company is making, and the fact that no one's really talking about this. So maybe back in 2019, a lot of people were bullish on stocks like Tesla, but nobody was really talking about the rest of these kind of EV car stocks. And then in 2020, there's an explosion. So my goal with this video is to kind of give you guys an idea on some of these companies that I think will see a big boost in revenues, perhaps in 2021 or 2022, so you can kind of get in on the ground floor. So now let's give you guys a little bit of information about the whole stock price. I'll give you guys my price prediction, and then you guys some technical analysis, and then we'll wrap things up. Okay, so to give you guys a background on this company, it just IPO'd in December 2019 at around $12.50. And the current stock price is trading at $13.60. So it's just trading just above IPO price with a current market cap of only $432 million. So the company only did around $5 million in revenue in Q2. So the company only did $5 million in revenue in Q2. So it'd be really interesting to see their latest upcoming quarterly report on December 3rd on how that looks. So now let's take a good look at the technical chart and give you guys some technical analysis on TradingView, between a range of like $8 and around $14 or so. It went up a bit to almost around 15-ish, but there was a slight pullback in some of these EV stocks. So right now, what it looks like, looking at a nice support level of around $13.50, and this cup has already been filled right here. So the stock had already been kind of beaten down for a while, and then the volume was up a ton. So I haven't heard really anybody talk about this. The stock really has a pretty small volume. It only traded about 1 million shares over the last couple of days or so. So I think there's a lot of upside in this stock, and simply because it's just trading at a $400 million market cap, and Morgan Stanley expects this market to be worth $1.5 trillion over the next 20 years. And companies like Uber and many other European companies and things like that are getting involved in this whole aerial transportation market. So I think this is a huge, huge opportunity to get on the ground floor. I've been looking at Ehang stock now for a while, and when I saw the price pullback, I just felt like this was a good time to post about it, because I just think there's upside here. Now, here's a couple. This would be about basically accumulating shares over time and just waiting, because all of these new industries, we're not exactly sure when aerial transportation is going to catch on, but it's definitely going. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to play this. One of the most notable things I noticed is that there are no options available for Ehang, which is kind of strange because usually most companies that are listed on the NASDAQ, I've seen it, for at least my opinion, have options. So that kind of, you can't really buy options on this stock. At least you can in Robinhood. And I checked, I didn't see an options chain. So basically you're going to be playing this long. So there's a couple of ways I would approach this. One way is you can just buy up a stake, buy a stake now and just wait, right? But for me personally, I think a better way to play this stock would be to accumulate month after month, because we don't really know when autonomous aerial vehicles, we don't know when air taxis are going to kind of reach Wall Street right now. So obviously Morgan Stanley is hip, they're aware of the growth, but the volume on this stock is so low, and it's it's probably one of the biggest players in China, if not the biggest player that I've researched. Uber is also involved as well, and actually Uber is my largest holding, and that's one of the reasons I think Uber is like the next Amazon. They're basically like the Amazon of transportation in my opinion. But you could either just buy a big position, or you could just buy every month. So that way you're building a position month after month, and that way once once air taxis catch on, boom, you're going to be there at the bottom. And we could kind of consider this perhaps something like the Neo of air taxis, because China is a huge market. It's one of the biggest economies, second largest economy in the world, and it just has so many people. So the fact that this company is able to sell these air taxis in China, and we know China, cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, we know they're notorious for traffic, notorious for pollution. These electric air taxis are going to really help the society, and I wouldn't be surprised where a lot of people are just using them mainstream. So Ehang, $400 million market cap. I think this is a great opportunity. I'm going to be sure to buy some and probably just buy it month after month. I'm not really waiting to make, I'm not trying to make money on this company right now. I'm simply going to just basically buy and hold for the long term and hope this kind of plays out like Neo, guys. So like I said, guys, my future price prediction for Ehang, the revenue isn't really great right now, only about 5 million, but I expect it to continue to ramp up. So be sure to check the latest quarterly report that's going to be posted on December 3rd. For me, I think this is easily $1 billion company. I mean, if the global market is going to be in the next 20 years going to be worth trillions, and this company is already at the forefront with their vehicles, I think that this is definitely $1 billion company. So I think a short-term price target for me, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ehang trade probably closer to $25 by the end of the year. We've seen stocks, Chinese, kind of Chinese EV stocks like Neo and Li Auto, Xiaopeng, those stocks have ran crazy. And Ehang is in the same discussion, but they're a little bit more futuristic. They're dealing with aerial transportation, not ground transportation, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Ehang, ticker symbol EH, give you guys some insight. We're going to be covering more stocks like this that no one's really talking about, that have a lot of future growth potential. If you get this and this becomes like the next Neo of air taxis, you can make a lot of money. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please smash the like button and be sure to smash the red subscribe button to subscribe to my channels for future videos. That's until next time, guys. Take care.